Good afternoon, Gus Flugman.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to Blogwatch, One Vote Network. I think Jane should introduce to the rest of Blogwatch and the listeners who you are, para lang as a brief background lang.
Maybe Gus can give a brief
No,
background.
you're friends.
But no,
No.
yeah, for transparency and
Oo,
for
oo nga.
actually I personally know Gus Lagman
Oh,
because I used to be in the IT profession as well as being an accountant.
yeah.
In 1984 and 1986 snap elections, I was part of NAMFREL, Operation Quick Count. And at that time, the Philippine Institute of CPAs, together with the Philippine Computer Society, were doing both the manual and the automated elections. So I was struggling because I was also part of the Philippine Computer Society, but I was also part of the Philippine Institute of CPAs.
Yeah.
So that was why I was wearing two hats at that time. Gus was there because he was very much active with the Philippine Computer Society.
I was the president.
He was the president at that time, so that's how far back he goes. We were together in La Salle, Green Hills. Diba, Gus?
Right.
We were there when the tabulators walked out of the ICC, so we witnessed everything. So we were there for the two elections.
I was there for 10
You were there for 10.
until 2007.
I faded away. I
Iniwan mo
faded
na kami.
away. Yeah, I faded away. So for disclosure purposes, yes, I know Gus. I also know his wife. So for me, I know Gus from a personal and from a professional point of view. Gus, you want to add as far as what have you been doing since we last met?
Well, like I said, I manage 10 Operation Quick Counts of NAMFREL, 1984 to 2007. And I also was very active with the Philippine Computer Society and the IT industry in general. It was only the last maybe 5 to 10 years that I started, sort of fading away from industry matters, and I was also, like right now, I'm really semi-retired. I have more than 50 years of IT behind me, having started with IBM Philippines in 1962. So 51 years in IT. that somehow dates me. So I know elections because of my connection with NAMFREL, and I know IT because of my very long experience as an IT practitioner. So that's who I am.
Okay, so maybe just to start off the questions, maybe let's go to the very beginning. Let's not start with 2013. Let's start way back with 2010. So you said that you usually have a presentation where you start out with why we actually wanted to automate. Can
Yes.
you expound a little bit on that?
Okay. In almost all companies, if you want to automate processes within a corporation, then you would normally be asked, perhaps by the board of directors, why do we want to automate? I mean, you just don't automate for the sake of automating. And to my mind, there are at least 4 reasons why you want to automate. Number 1 is that you want to make the elections more accurate. Number 2, you want to be able to at least minimize, if not eliminate, cheating. Right? Number 3 is you would like to make the elections more transparent, not less transparent. Okay? And I would put speed as only number 4. I mean, what's the sense in making it quick if the results are not accurate? Di ba? Or making it quick and the results and the process is not transparent. The mantra today of election advocates all over the world, the mantra is secret voting, public counting. In other words, transparency is very important. No? So those are the reasons why we want to automate. And as early as 2008, we have already been saying that if you remove the manual counting at the precinct level, you remove the transparency. Because as it is with PICOS, or in fact, even worse with DRE, which is direct recording electronic system in touch screen. No? Even worse is you don't see how the votes are counted. This is the reason why countries like Germany, Netherlands, Ireland went back to manual. And in the case of Germany, they're saying that the voters must not only see how their votes are counted, they must understand how their votes are being counted. And here, clearly, you don't, because the results come out without them seeing how the votes are being counted. No? So that's the reason also why out of the 30 countries that have automated, I heard 2 months ago that 18 of them have gone back to manual at the precinct level.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I always cringe when I read somebody saying that we don't want to go back to the dark ages and go back to manual. What we're saying is manual at the precinct level, electronic transmission, and automated canvassing. And let me tell you why. Precinct counting only takes 5 to 12 hours. Okay? Canvassing used to take during when our elections was completely manual before, no? 5 to 12 hours for precinct counting, but 25 to 40 days
Yes, I remember.
for canvassing.
Yeah.
So, you're an IT person. You don't have to be an IT person. Looking at that, which one should you address? Obviously, it's the canvassing. And not only because of the amount of time spent on canvassing. That's also where the bawas happens during canvassing. If you leave the counting manual at the precinct level, encode the election returns, transmit electronically, and then automate the canvassing, the difference between that process, that system, and the PICOS system is only 1 day, 12 to 24 hours. Now, let's take a look at the difference in cost. In 2010, our country spent 11.3 billion using PICOS. This year, 2013, we spent, the budget anyway, was either 8.2 or 8.6 billion. I'm not sure. The system that we are telling them that they should use, and by the way, we're not vendors. We're not selling the system. We're telling them this should be the system that you should use. That should only cost about 2 billion compared to 8.2 or 8.6 and 11.3 in 2010. And not only that, the canvassing process will only use laptops. No, not only the canvassing, but also the encoding of the election returns. We'll only use laptops. Maybe 80,000 or 100,000 of them. Those laptops, after every election, need not be stored in a warehouse. They can be given to the Department of Education. And then every 3 years, COMELEC can buy a new set of laptops. So you don't have warehousing costs. Here, COMELEC is asking for 400 million just to warehouse the PICOS machines. See? So it's really, if they did a cost-benefit study, there's no way that you can justify the use of the PICOS machines when there are other alternatives. So that's what I presented that to COMELEC in 2008, November 2008. And they liked the system. And they said, if we don't get the budget, that's what we will use. To which former chairman Christian Monson said, because he accompanied me to the COMELEC, he said, well, even if you get the budget, if you think this is a good system, why not use this system and then spend the money on something else? But then that's the problem with the system. As somebody told me, it's too inexpensive.
Too inexpensive.
Too
cheap.
inexpensive. Too cheap, in other words. So that's what it is. So in 2010, we used the PICOS machines. We rented the machines, and the contract was for 7.2 billion. And the other 4 billion, many of the contracts with that 4 billion was also won by Smartmatic.
Okay, during the bidding, I'm reading the book, Hacking Our Democracy by Rene Alcerin, and basically the contention there, if you can confirm it, was that the terms of reference were so tailored that only Smartmatic could pass the bidding process. Is that exactly what happened?
I'm not sure of that, but what happened was some of the bidders were disqualified on the basis of some conditions not being met, which Smartmatic also did not meet anyway. And that's why they were, I can't remember, because I was not even paying attention, but some of the losing
I think it was the
bidders,
accuracy. They did not meet the 99 point. I think they were at 99. They were at 96%. I think accuracy.
maybe that's one of them. Also, now I remember one. You're supposed to submit, the bidders were supposed to submit a contract with a minimum amount. In other words, you have a contract that to do a project that's worth a minimum amount. I can't remember the minimum amount. They submitted one, but the names of the companies were all covered with black pentel pen. They were all marked with black pentel pen. So there's no way you can check whether that is a valid contract. And yet, COMELEC allowed them and did not disqualify them on the basis that they did not present a contract with that minimum amount. And yet, they disqualified another because they were not able to submit such requirement. So, maybe it's not so much the specs, but the conduct of the bidding was less than satisfactory.
So after that, the decision was to go with Smartmatic and then to buy
To rent.
to rent the PICOS for what was it? 7.2
7.2
billion. But supposedly it was that expensive because the PICOS was supposedly armed with a lot of security features and all
yes,
that. No?
yes.
So which of these security features were present or were no longer there or had problems in the 2010 elections?
They did not fulfill the requirement of digital signatures. They said, but we have machine signatures. There's no such thing. You look at the internet and you won't find machine signature. And besides, what if somebody grabs your machine and transmits, and then you use that quote-unquote machine signature? Then it doesn't prove that that was sent by the right Board of Election Inspectors. The Board of Election Inspectors are supposed to sign the transmission using their own digital signature. But not only did they not do that, they said they used machine signatures that were generated by Smartmatic. So
where's the independence you say?
yeah, I mean, it was generated by Smartmatic, so they know all of the passwords, all of the signatures. And so inside
It's not
there,
encrypted?
well, even if it's encrypted, they know it because they were the ones who generated it. You know, and I have always said I'm not worried about external hacking. I'm worried about internal tampering. It's very vulnerable to internal tampering. And so, you know, the vulnerability in 2010 was still there in 2013. Plus, they removed other security features as well.
What about the scanner that was supposed to detect fake ballots? Was that
Well,
important
in
as far as
2010, that is only to be able to secure the authenticity of the ballot. In other words, is this ballot the official ballot or not? Is it fake? So with the UV lamp, you should be able to tell whether the ballot is fake or real. But what happened in 2010, I think they removed it eventually because they had problems with the printing. Parang, you know, the ink, I think, was splattered or something.
The ink was an inferior quality that could not be read by the UV scanner.
Yeah, so something like that. So they had to disable
But
that.
they bought handheld.
Yeah.
They bought
so,
handheld scanners.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
But still, the digital signatures of the PEI was not there. And it was not there either in 2013. So in other words, it's like having an election returns with no signature. So you don't know where it came from.
For you, was that the deal breaker? I mean, if everything else was not there, but if the digital signatures were there, would that have at least...
Yeah, well, not yet, as far as I'm concerned. You see, my main objection, I look at it from a systems point of view. The transparency is not there. The transparency is lost. And that's my main objection about the system. You don't see how the votes are being counted. So if the source code has malware, you don't see it. If the CF cards were tampered with, you don't see it. Now there are a lot of complaints saying that how did this happen? You know, we're very strong and etc. Of course, I mean,
But even the CF cards were an issue in 2010, right?
not as much as 2013. And the reason for that, as if I may quote Chairman Monson, former Chairman Monson, Comelec, he said, you know, the politicians in 2010 were still in shock and awe, and they didn't understand exactly how the machines work. In 2013, they will know, and sure enough, they do understand already. And as early as January, several candidates approached me because they were approached by somebody offering them victory and saying that we know how to do it. My guess is that it's probably through the CF cards. Remember in 2010, 1 week before the elections, Smartmatic said that the source code, or rather the program, the software, and the ballot design were not aligned with each other. That the ballot design at the back, meaning the local,
Yes.
were double spaced.
Yes.
And
Instead
that
of
the
single.
program expects single spacing.
Yes.
So they were not aligned. That was their explanation. And they recalled all of the CF cards.
Correct.
And they are supposedly changed the contents of the CF cards and then redeployed them.
Yes.
Now, who did the recoding or the rewriting? Hundreds or thousands of computer technicians. Okay, so they know how to do it. Okay, now a combination of one of those computer technicians and an election operator is a deadly combination. And I suspect that those who are offering, who were offering the candidates, that they can tamper with the results and give them victory, were that combination. And there are quite a few. I mean, just candidates who called me. In other words, they know how to get in touch with me.
So
What
you've
about
actually
those?
been called by some
But-
candidates who
no,
said that
but-
they were approached
Yes,
for victory
yes.
and
Yes, several of them.
several.
Yeah. So, and the going rate was something like 20 to 30 million for congressional fights and 3 to 5 million for mayoralty fights for municipality mayors. So, they already know how to do it. And that's why it's now even more vulnerable than it was in 2010.
What should have been done between 2010 and 2013 which that could have lessened, alleviated, or even resolved some of these issues that were cropping up in 2013? What did COMELEC do or did not do
Okay.
in that intervening?
There was a point, of course, that I sort of gave up in changing their fixation on Smartmatics PCOS, because they're fixated on Smartmatics PCOS. But nonetheless, I tried to tell them that there are other options, you know. But there came a point that, you know, I sort of, this is useless. So let me do whatever I can do to at least make it secure. So we had a workshop, I think around January maybe of 2012 in Tagaytay. And one of the recommendations that I made, which was also a recommendation of the Advisory Council, was to unbundle the bidding. I mean, not one big project, but break them up. And there are several reasons for that. Number one, why will you give the deployment of paraphernalia to, for example, Smartmatic, when COMELEC can do it better? Having
They've done it before.
having conducted elections for many decades. Okay, so Smartmatic in 2010 subcontracted it anyway to FedEx or Air 21 and several other logistics companies. So why not go directly to these companies? Bid it out to them directly. No? So there's no middleman, and therefore it will come out cheaper. So okay, that's one. Another is the printing. Printing is going to be done by NPO anyway, the National Printing Office. Why not deal directly with them? Why do you have to go through Smartmatic and then go to NPO anyway? So break them up. I also said, and this is important, but obviously they didn't think it was. I said, we should bid out the project management separately. It's like constructing a building. The first team that you appoint is the construction manager. He is the owner's representative, and the construction manager will help the owner bid out the rest of the sub projects. They did not. It should have been the first, but they did not bid it out as the first. In fact, they did not bid it out at all. So, who managed the project? COMELEC and Smartmatic. So it was like in 2010. I said it should have been bid out to local, to Filipino SIs, system integrators. You know, get someone. For example, SGB or whoever. There are many system integrators in the country. bid out the project management to them and let them help Comelec manage the project. You know, as a third party, not Smartmatic, and a team with a lot of IT background. So what happened? The project manager was Jun Tolentino, the executive director, who's a lawyer. He doesn't have IT background. So we encountered a lot of problems, as we all witnessed. You know. So those were some of the things that I suggested when I was still there. But then my stint there was cut short.
From what I read before, was it true that you had a team who tried to write software while you were...
Yes. As early as August 2011, I asked the IT department, I said, kaya ba nating gumawa ng sarili nating canvassing system? I mean, can we write our own canvassing system? And they said, oh naman sir, I mean, that kind of confidence, of course we can. Okay? So, well, first, why did I want to develop our own canvassing system? Number one, I don't want Comelec to be forever dependent on a vendor, a foreign vendor at that. So every time we want to add enhancements to the system, we have to go back to them. You know? And we would, we don't even know how long that company will be around. Also, if it's our own, it would be easier to train the field people because we would know it very well, because we wrote it ourselves. So I told the IT department, okay, let's do it. They started September 26, 2011. They borrowed 2 people from DOST and they bought some laptops. December 22, they reported to me saying that they finished the development. 3 months. 3 months. So I was a little surprised that they could do it in 3 months. Oh, so maganda, magaling.
Pero using what? Like, was it just purely a tabulating?
Yeah.
What would be the built-in controls?
Like we were doing in Umbrel. It's just a consolidation of the votes coming from the precincts and then on to the province.
Are they using macros in Excel, for example?
I think they use C++ and Java.
Okay.
So it's a combination of several languages, programming languages. So they finished it. And the only thing that was left was stress testing, meaning you want some volume testing done on the software. But system testing was already finished. So I said, how much did we pay Smartmatic to develop that software? The one that we bought and which was used by Comelec in 2008 and 2010. So they checked with accounting. It was bought for 58 million. Okay. So I said,
The program?
yeah, the software, the
Software
system,
for
the
the
canvassing
canvassing.
system.
Oh.
Yeah. And
56 million?
not end to end, but from receipt of the transmission from PICOS to national canvassing,
56 million.
58 million. Yeah. So I asked, how much did we spend developing it? So they checked, they computed, and after a few days they came back to me and said 600,000 for the 2 people that we borrowed from DOST and for the laptops that we bought, 600,000. So wow, I was so proud of the team, you know. So I announced it. To the Anbang. And I told them, now we have a canvassing system.
Oh, why not?
Chairman Brillantes didn't want it.
Oh.
He didn't want to use it. I said, why?
What grounds?
it's a very lame excuse
Okay.
that the law says that the system, the technology must have been tried successfully in previous elections. Anyway,
Is that a law?
it's in the law
Ah,
that the
okay.
technology must have been tried.
It's got to be a tried and tested system.
Yes.
In that sense, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure,
Oh.
sure. Now, so ask them, what technology has not been tried? It's using laptops and servers. The technology is being used by almost all corporations all over the world. Okay. Another mention in another paragraph is that the system must have demonstrated capability. Okay. What is new in the system? It's the same canvassing system that we used in 2008, the same canvassing system that we used in 2010. Only the programs were changed. And the Smartmatic also changed certain routines in the 2010 program anyway. And even if you change only one command in that software, it's like new. You have to test it again.
Yeah.
Diba? I mean, even if you change just one command, one instruction, you have to test it all over again as though it were new. And, after, I don't know, 1 hour of debate, it was put a vote. And the vote was again 6-1.
Oh.
Me being
You were the one.
Yeah. And by the way, you're talking about violation of the law. There were so many violations that they committed. No digital signature, source code review by any any interested political party or groups. There were so many violations that they committed. And yet this one is maybe it's a violation, but I say no, I say it's not. And yet they're very selective with what they want to follow.
The question that keeps coming up in the news is because this Gaslagman and whoever they are have some commercial interest in these machines that would take the place of vehicles. There's a commercial. There's something
They're
that
trying
you
to
will get.
divert the
Yes, I
attention
know.
on
So,
them.
what is it really? I mean,
Because we were giving the system that, I said in 2008, and
Yeah.
in fact, Chairman Melo asked me,
parang sour grape ang dating mo. Parang
yeah,
gano'n.
ganyan na. They wanted to divert the
Oh.
attention to my business interest. Okay? As early as 2008, when Chairman Melo, I believe he asked me, are you selling the system? No, we're giving it to you. And then you just take care of bidding out the laptops and servers. And by the way, I said, you don't have to buy it from one company.
Yeah, better.
Buy it from many computer shops and spread the wealth. Those that you will deliver to Mindanao, buy them from in Davao, in Cagayan de Oro, in Zamboanga, so you lessen your logistics cost. Those you will deliver to the north, buy them in Baguio, in Dagupan, in Lawag, and you don't have to worry about delivering it there. It makes a lot of sense. And you spread the wealth. You make many computer shops happy. I have no commercial interest here. We're giving you a solution that you will implement yourself. We will even help you. But it's too cheap. Maybe.
600,000.
So anyway, they didn't want to use the canvassing system. And I really cannot find and think of one good reason why they would refuse to use the canvassing system. And that gives me some doubts.
Was there are you aware, although this was before your time, are you aware whether there was really a serious due diligence done on both Smartmatic and Dominion systems? Because right now it seems like, the source code review thing and all that reflects now on what may be a possible lack in due diligence.
I don't think they even, Comelec officially knew that the software was not owned by Smartmatic. You see, in 2010, again, this is very important. And here, again, there was a violation of their own rules. Bid Bulletin number 10 in 2010 or 2009. Bid Bulletin number 10 says, if you're going to subcontract any part of your bid, you have to disclose it to the Comelec. Okay? Hardware and software are important components of the bid, and you cannot subcontract them. Not only did Smartmatic subcontract the hardware and software, they did not disclose it to Comelec. So, on both counts, they were in bad faith. As a matter of fact, in 2012, when Comelec found out that there was a problem between Dominion and Smartmatic, if this were a private corporation, the corporation would cancel that contract. Hey, you didn't tell us that you didn't own the software. You're in bad faith. Let's cancel the contract. Here's your machine. Give me back my money. That's how a private corporation would decide. But not Comelec. Like I said, they're fixated on Smartmatic's PCOS.
What I remember in 2010 also, which alarmed me at that time, was the several instances of delays in the delivery of the PCOS machine, for which the deadline was moving all the time. I mean, supposedly there was a penalty pegged to delays in delivery, right?
I believe so, yes, but
so far as you know, Smartmatic has not paid any penalties at all for anything, or
well,
have they?
I cannot comment on that because I don't know. I don't know for a fact. I don't want to say something that I'm not sure.
All right. Okay.
So I don't know. I know that I was only present in 2 meetings with Smartmatic, and both of those meetings were not even on the PCOS machines for 2013. They were trying to collect some money. And in fact, I even remember that I voted for paying them. I mean, if it's you, then pay them. So there were only 2 meetings, considering that I'm the only IT person, commissioner with an IT background. But I was not in on discussions with Smartmatic.
So, had Comelec acted, do you think, on the issues that were set by, or that were brought up by IceWatch in 2010? Do you think that there was a failure to act on it right away, or they acted on it too close to the 2013 elections?
Well, which particular complaint? Because IceWatch was asking for several items. One of them was the review of the source code. The source code, the contract with Systes Labs, which is now SLI. Okay, that's the international certification entity. The contract with them, I think, was signed in October 2009. Okay, they submitted their report February. So the review was something like 3 or 4 months, maybe 4 months. And so when the report was submitted, IceWatch was saying, hey, what about us? We need to review that according to law. And I know that very well because I was also a member of the technical working group that helped the Senate craft that law. So I know the law pretty well. But as you know, I think IceWatch went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said yes, that's in the law, and told Comelec you should allow them to review. Unfortunately, there were so many restrictions. They wanted the review to be done inside the Comelec, that they cannot use tools. If you don't use tools, you cannot test it. That means
But
that
they
you have to
claim that
you
you
have to
wanted
review
to
the
take
code.
it out. They claim that you wanted to take it out,
Not
and they
only
were just
that.
putting it, because they didn't want
No,
the source
also
code
you
to
cannot
leak out.
copy it, you
Yeah.
cannot test it, you cannot. If you cannot use tools, how do you review it? You review it line by line. You know, how do you review code? You
Here's
test
the
it.
code, yeah.
Here's a
Test data.
Yeah, here's a routine. You want to test it. They won't allow you that. So it was ridiculous, and they said it's useless. It's useless. And by the way, they were saying that we will only allow the review after Sisters Labs finishes theirs. That's wrong. If you look at the law, there is mention of that international certification body. But in an earlier paragraph, later paragraph, it says that as soon as the technology has been determined, okay, the source code should be made available to any interested political party or group for their review. Okay? As soon as the technology has been determined. When is that going to happen? After you sign the contract. You already know what you're going to use. Okay? For the 2013 elections, the contract was signed March 2012. Which means that by April, they should have made the source code available already. They did not. They were only going to allow that, 2 or 3 days before elections? Saying, oh, we now have the source code.
But if you were the political party, I mean, realistically, because some people are saying the source code is not the one that matters, because anyway, it's already been independently reviewed, and you are just creating, you're just looking for an excuse, because so what kind of source code review would have been acceptable to all parties?
It's in the law.
What would you have done? I mean, if you were the political party or you were the ICE Watch, what kind of source code review would have been adequate?
What I recommended when I was still there, I said we have to follow the law. There has to be a source code review by any interested political party or group, because that's in the law. No, if we don't do it, we'll be violating the law. But I said we have to qualify that. I said when I was still there, I said, any political party first. Let's qualify it by saying that it has to be a political party or group, political party or political group. Okay. Number 2, let us not allow any Tom, Dick, and Harry to review it. The person or persons who will review it should have the credentials. In other words, they should be IT people, they should be techy enough to be able to review code. Not everybody should be allowed to do it, otherwise it will be a waste of time. So I said that's how we should do it, but not limit, let's not put any more restrictions other than those. But they did follow it. Well, they did get the source code anyway. Now, the source code is important because I think if we allowed an international certification authority or entity to review it, why can we not allow a Filipino group, the Filipino political parties, to review it? I mean, it's in the law. That should be followed. I mean, Sisters Labs does not also had some not too good reputation in the past, where they were accused, although I think they were acquitted later, but they were accused of having colluded with a client. In other words, let's say that Smartmatic wanted source code reviewed, they colluded with Smartmatic, something like that. Although it was not Smartmatic, it was some other vendor.
Did this reach the courts abroad?
In the States, I'm not too sure. But anyway, like I said, they were sort of quote-unquote acquitted. But there was that accusation. So, we want to have our own review. And besides, like I said, it's in the law.
There are some IT people, friends of ours, in some of the past discussions, who felt that it was not a source code review that would have given that element of trust that the system was okay, but rather, let us say, to get a hacktivist to hack into the system and actually test it, because they said a source code review may not actually be sufficient. What you need to do is actually get somebody to try to penetrate the system. So what do you think of that?
To me, it's because I'm not, like I said, I'm not worried about external hacking. The machine, the PCOS units, will only be connected to communication lines for several minutes, for a few minutes. That won't be enough to hack it. You know, I mean, you need hours, if not days, to hack the system. I have always said that it is, however, vulnerable to internal tampering. If you know the codes, you don't even have to hack it. I mean, you just enter. It's like a house which is very secure, you know, padlocked and everything. So no thief can enter. But if the thief is already inside, that is the danger. Yes, that's what I'm worried about. Now, okay, source code, they are right. I mean, source code review is not enough. That's why I'm saying we also want to make sure that the binary codes installed in each and every PCOS machine came from that source code. That has to be done. There's a protocol that has to be
Can you
followed.
explain that for our viewers, because you were saying that when we were still offline? How do you generate that supposed hash code, just so we understand, layman's terms?
Okay, you compile the source code to get the official source code, to get the official binary code.
Okay. When you say binary code, that's the machine language.
That's the machine language.
Okay.
That's the object code.
Which runs
That
every
runs
PCOS.
the PCOS.
Okay.
Yes. The binary code should be fed to a hash code generator or checksum
Okay.
generator.
What is a hash code generator?
Okay. The generator will read software or any data file and generate a code which is like a thumbprint of that file.
It cannot be duplicated. I mean, you cannot have two with the same hash code.
No.
Everything will be
No. It has to be exactly the same to be able to come up with the same hash code. Okay? It will generate a string of characters which is long, maybe 30, 40 or 50 characters long, which identifies that binary code. It's like a thumbprint or the DNA of that binary code. Okay? So that's the official hash code. That hash code should be distributed to all the Board of Election Inspectors. So that means for distributed to each precinct, which will have a PCOS machine. On election day, the first thing that the Board of Election Inspectors should do is generate a hash code from the binary code inside the machine. So they should be taught how to do it. And there should be a hash code generator inside. Once it generates a hash code, that hash code generated from the PCOS machine should be compared to the official one.
Just to interrupt, the PCOS is capable of generating this hash code,
Well, it's a PC.
right?
I mean, there's a PC inside, so it should be able to generate that if you have the program inside.
Okay, go ahead.
So it should generate a hash code, and then that hash code generated from each PCOS machine should be compared to the official one, and they should be the same. The hash code you change, you remove a period or
If there was a
blank,
subroutine inserted somewhere there, that will change the hash code?
that will change the hash code. You just remove a blank, or you add a number or a period somewhere, the hash code will change.
Okay.
So, If they're the same, then we are certain that the binary codes installed inside each PCOS machine is the same as the official one. But there's no such product. That was not done.
So in other words, that was not part of the instructions to the BPI. Is it correct that when the machine asks if they want a digital signature, that they were instructed to say no instead of yes
That's the instruction. I know that that was the instruction in 2010.
in 2010?
I don't know if the same instruction is present in 2013.
But
I
from
believe
what I
it is.
understand,
Yes.
there were no digital signatures either that
There's
were
none.
used in
None.
2013.
None.
So in other words, it might be the same case as for
Yes.
2010.
Because there's a GI, a general instructions that's sent to the BEI, to all BEIs. And I know that in 2010, there's an instruction there that if you are asked to sign, and the question is yes or no, you will say no, something like that.
What I cannot understand is, if this is a violation of the law, why did he get away with it?
What?
Why?
Is there because we're not filing a case?
No, we filed cases.
And then, what happened?
So what's happening
The-
now?
well, one of them is still pending, and this was on the 2010 elections. It's the Philippine Computer Society that filed it,
Is it in Supreme Court?
Supreme Court. Yeah, because it's a question of law, so
It's a violation.
you can go
So-
straight to the Supreme Court. But nothing happens. Maybe the Commonwealth is
Why?
above the law.
Is that because they're the most powerful official next to the president during the election? And
Well,
they
during
were
the during the elections,
during the election, who
the
is-
chairman is the most powerful man
Okay,
in the
most,
country.
not the second.
No, no, not the second.
Not the
He can
second.
commander the military. He can commander the planes, the boats, if we have a boat. Yeah.
Really?
The police.
But after the election, he should not be that
But
formidable.
that's only during the election
Yeah, I
period.
know. And we can
But
already question
there are
the-
certain realities, and I learned about this when we filed a case against Tangkangko, an impeachment case against Luz Biminda Tangkangko in I can't remember what year that was, 2000 or 2001, I think. We could not get the required 1/3 of Congress, and I learned later
Mhm.
that the reason could be that members of Congress are usually, they don't want to antagonize COMELEC because
Yeah,
they
don't
might
want.
have an election case, or some of their supporters might have election cases, and so they don't want to antagonize COMELEC. And after that, I wrote a paper. After I learned that, no, not after I learned that, but sometime in 2009, I think, or 2010, I wrote a paper, an article, re-engineering. It's in that book.
It's in this book.
Re-engineering the
Okay,
COMELEC.
you may want to show. You may want to
Yeah,
show
okay,
this
okay.
online so that people know.
Okay.
Maybe we can show the cover
Cover mo.
so that
Wait,
people
I'll
know.
look for the article
Yeah,
first.
yeah. This book is the National Bookstore?
I think that book. There are two books. There's this book. Maybe you can put this.
Yeah, this is the book.
Okay, that's the book.
Was your vote counted? And this is a compilation of some 23 articles written by I think 19 authors, 19 writers.
19 authors from the Watchdogs.
Yeah, IceWatch mostly.
Yeah.
And I have two articles here, one of which is re-engineering the COMELEC.
Engineering.
Yeah.
Interesting. Where can you buy this book?
IceWatch.
Watch lang. Wala pa sa National
It might be
This
in...
one is in National. This one,
Yeah.
yeah, this one's in National.
Yeah, this is supposed to
The
go to
other
National
one?
Bookstore as well.
Yeah. I think it should
But
eventually-
just a brief description.
What is in that
Yeah,
article of
Hacking
just a brief
democracy.
description. I was saying that the COMELEC has two basic functions: election administration and the adjudication of election cases. Okay, adjudication of election cases will need legal minds, so you should get lawyers to do that. Election administration, you need project managers, IT people. You don't need lawyers. And in fact, there are many countries with their own COMELECs, and there won't be any lawyer even in many of those. No lawyers. They're project managers and IT people. And this will of course require a change in the Constitution, separating the two. Because the adjudication of election cases can even be passed on to either the regional trial courts or maybe create an election court, just like tax courts, you know, create one and then let them take care of that. And then the election administration would be given to project managers, you know. Now, I was suggesting that even without revising the Constitution, if the chairman or the ANBAN, the commission, will decide to do it without changing the Constitution, there are 7 members in the COMELEC, in the commission. Only 4, according to law, only 4 have to be lawyers, including the chairman. 3 need not be lawyers. And if the president would appoint, let's say, 4 lawyers and 3 project managers, they can decide, if they're willing to decide in that manner, to actually separate the functions among the 7 of them, where the project managers will take care of election administration, take care of the bidding and everything, and the 4 would concentrate on the election cases. Then we can implement it. The commission can implement it voluntarily, even without changing the Constitution. So that's basically what I'm saying in that article.
Right now, it's only Commissioner Lim, I think, who is sort of IT.
Well,
Right now.
not really. I did see it when I was there. You don't, I mean, knowing how to run a PC, being a techie in some of the software products, that's not the kind of IT capability that's needed. What we need are systems people, project managers. Because what you want to do is develop a system that is the most appropriate for elections. So it's more systems work than being technology experts. Because technology, I mean, you look for the right technology that will be appropriate for the system that you're envisioning. And that's how we came up with that solution that I was talking about earlier. It's a very simple system. Basically what we were doing in Namprel.
Ours was very crude at the time, but it was the concept.
1984, 1986 was crude, but we automated it.
Correct, yes.
We automated it.
Automated it at that time.
Yeah.
And then even the canvassers could detect already that there was something fishy going on already, diba? That's why there was a walkout.
Ah, well, in 1986,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Walkout at
Yeah.
the PICC.
Oh.
Because there were 2 pre-counts in 1986.
Yeah.
Namprels
Yes.
and the governments
Yes, I know.
at
But
PICC.
still,
And there was a walkout at the
Oh.
PICC.
like, thank God.
You should have heard the roar
Yes.
at Green Hills when we heard that.
Anyway, moving forward, because right now we're again looking at another 3 years before 2016.
Yes.
Will the source code be an issue again in 2016?
Well, it depends on what kind of system we're going to use. And I am hoping that as early as now, they should already study what the best system would be for the government. I mean, as early as now. I mean, why wait for 2016 or 2015?
So we should again make sure that we have a license, that we can actually have it enhanced for 2016.
It does not have to be PICOS. In fact, I've been saying that I hope the last time we used
But
PICOS.
is that view going to be acceptable? Because people will say, what? We paid so much and we use it only for 2 elections, we're junking it.
You want a better system or not?
What is better to you?
I'm telling you. The one that
The one that
been
you said, locally developed. you're
locally
saying.
developed.
And
It
the
follows the
canvassing-
mantra that I
Yeah.
was telling you about earlier.
Where it's manual
Secret
of the-
voting,
Yeah.
public counting. I mean, 18 of the 30 countries that have automated went back to manual counting at the
18?
precinct level. 18.
Because that's the only way it can be.
I heard that some two months ago. I know for a fact that Germany, Netherlands, and Ireland went back to manual counting at the precinct level. You see, it's done in front of the voters. There are watchers behind the teachers when the ballots are being counted. You know, of course, sure, there's still cheating that happens, but generally the results of precinct counting are accepted. They're accepted by the public. So there's nothing wrong with that.
The precinct
But
level.
it's the most transparent. You see, with the PICO system, your only trusted document is the ballot. Because the election returns is already printed by the machine, by the PICO's units. So your only trusted, really trusted document is the ballot. Okay? However, you don't get to see the ballots unless there's a protest. So even the protest process is weakened using this PICO system. If it's manual at the precinct level, you have the ballot as a trusted document, and then you have the election returns as a trusted document because it was produced in front of the public with watchers. So you can consider that also as a second trusted document. And politicians who want to protest can use that to protest, saying that the addition is wrong, our watchers said that they were reading it incorrectly or whatever. You know. So you have a second trusted document. And as I said, generally, that's accepted by the public. So you have two. So you have a protest process that's strong enough.
There's a question here from Viking Lugarda. Where does the raw data go? I'm referring to the ballot level record per voter. Who keeps it? Is there public access?
No.
Where does it go
Initially,
right now?
they would be kept by the municipal or city treasurer. He has custody of the equipment and the ballot boxes.
The raw data also.
The raw data. Well, the raw data, now that it's automated, that's contained in the central server. There's the transparency server and the various servers of the municipal board of canvassers, the provincial board of canvassers, the national board of canvassers. So that's the digital, that's the soft
The
copy.
ballot level
Yeah.
record.
But the ballots, the physical ballots are in the ballot boxes,
Okay.
and they're kept by the treasurer.
Okay, how long, let's say you have the PICOS machine, how long does it take to game it? For example, to game it so that it could produce a desired result. Theoretically, how would you game it? For example, how would you tamper with it so that when
Before the elections,
yeah, but how long would it take?
it should be fairly easy. You have the CF cards,
Mhm.
and there are two. One is the main CF card,
Mm.
and the other is the backup.
Okay.
I understand that it was only the main that was tested. Okay. But there were many CF cards that had to, that had to be replaced because there was something wrong with the CF cards, and so they used the backup. But if the backup was not tested, it could contain. It could be
Could be-
preloaded.
Preload
It could be
instructions
different.
It could
already.
be preloaded.
Preloaded.
with
Okay.
with votes.
With data already.
Yeah, with data. For example, if the two of us are running,
Yeah.
you might have in your counters minus 1,000, and I have
Okay.
plus 1,000. You know.
Could it be sophisticated enough to come up with when you apply it to the national level, you get a desired results in terms of the national
That's a little. You have to do it centrally.
centrally?
In other words, one, you can program the source code
Okay.
to manipulate the results.
Mhm.
So all of those PCOS units would do that. Okay.
Mhm.
The other is you manipulate all of the CF cards. So the
Okay.
CF cards that you distribute are already corrupted.
So it's either at the source code level or the CF
Or
card.
the CF cards.
And it would only take, I guess, one programmer to do that, and a easy way to enter to
Yeah.
just to insert it there.
And that's what I keep saying. You know, it's very vulnerable to internal tampering. I'm not worried about external hacking. Internal tampering is what worries me. And you know,
Especially since it looks like the horizontal and the vertical integration of everything is only under the control of one
yeah,
company.
Smartmatic.
What about the issue on, remember when there were issues that came out where the dates, like there were transmissions even before the precinct had closed, or
Yeah.
or after the precincts had already been closed and had transmitted, and there were still PCOS machines that were transmitting.
Transmitting, yes.
Yeah.
And it's happening, it happened again this year.
Oo.
It happened in 2010, it's happened again this year. There were still transmissions days later, which they could not understand. Where's it coming from?
How can that be addressed, so that we don't have those issues again?
Well, it has to be a change of system.
So you're saying
Because-
we cannot use the PCOS anymore? Or, is that your stand?
That's my stand. They should just be donated to schools, maybe.
That machine?
What will the schools do?
Pinamaki sa machine.
Checking,
Is it even a,
checking
is it
test,
even a computer?
checking test papers.
Wow.
PRC uses scanners.
So you can use it like an optical card, optical scanner?
It is a scanner,
Yeah,
a PC,
for
and a
the-
printer. That's
for
all
the-
it is.
So, change the system to the one it is requested.
The one that we are saying.
The
Because
manual
here,
present count.
we will again, if we use the machine again, we will again have these controversies in 2015 and 2016. We will have, and it became worse. From 2009, 2010, it became worse, 2012 to 2013. These same controversies. Do you want to go through that again? The system that we are recommending will have checks every step of the way. I mean, you design an accounting system. You want checks every step of the way, right?
Yes, complete audit.
Even
yes.
in a factory, you want to do quality control right after every step, not at the end, so that it will be less expensive to correct. If there's a problem here, you correct it right away. I mean, that's how you design a system. And even in manufacturing, you do it that way. And this is what I'm saying. Here, the elections came and went. and we still do not know how to check it.
But the thing is, there is no groundswell of protests, it seems now.
We don't know
Is
it.
it because it's very hard to understand the kind of issues that you are putting forth? Or
Because the protest process has been weakened, as I was explaining earlier. What's your proof? The ballots. But the ballots cannot be opened, unless there's a protest. But what do you use to protest? You see, it's a
Chicken and egg.
it's a catch-22 situation.
What about
Unless you can prove it to the regional trial court that, well, I can only prove it if you open the ballot box. It's in there. The proof is inside the ballot box.
what about the statement of COMELEC, if I am correct, that people can only file an electoral protest if they do a source code review first?
No.
Well, that was something that I read a few days back.
It's even going to be tough because the source code review will take at least 4 months maybe. By that time, somebody might have tampered with the ballots and the picture images inside the PICOs. It should be done as soon as possible. That's why Senator Gordon said, preserve the integrity of those machines. And I think they should be sealed, as soon as possible. And people should watch and make sure that they're not tampered with. Because otherwise, if it takes 6 months, then it might be useless.
Yeah.
You won't see anything anymore.
Yeah, if it takes 14 to 15 hours to do a manual count at the local level, why didn't they include it now in the procedure, which is 14 to 15, just as a safe measure against,
We have the road.
against, let's say, it's even a measure against, kunyari, the view that it was tampered with, at least safeguard at the local level, you have already did the manual count. It only take 14 to 15 hours.
They did it with the random manual audit.
Okay.
The
Yes.
random manual audit should have been done on election night.
Yun nga.
After they have transmitted and printed
Yeah.
all the copies of the election returns, the same teachers, or maybe a different set of teachers, or maybe 2 precincts exchanging BEIs, should have done the audit right there
And
and
they
counted the
didn't, they
ballots. And they should be paid extra
Yeah.
because of the extra work that they're doing. They should have done it right there, so that we're sure that nobody has tampered with the ballots yet. But we don't even know where it was done.
It wasn't even
In
covered.
2010, the report came out 60 days later, and nobody knew except PPCRB where it was done and when it was done.
Is there a law that prohibits where it was done, or
The process, unfortunately, is not in the law, and it shouldn't be there. Maybe in the IRR, in
Yeah.
the implementing rules and regulations, the process can be put in there, but not in the law. But you want to do a random manual audit, you do it. That's it,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Di ba?
Oh, yes, of course. Wait, there's a follow-up to that question I asked earlier. On raw data, he was not referring to tallies, but raw data, 1 record per voter. Where does it go? Does the public have access to this?
No.
No access. But where does it go?
The ballot boxes will only be open if there's a protest and the
ballot box is the
and the
one part.
regional trial court authorizes the opening of the boxes.
But they're with the
Ballot
municipal
boxes.
now.
They're now supposedly with the municipal or city treasurers.
Unless there's a case. Cannot be open unless there's a
Cannot.
case.
Cannot.
Even,
Only the RTC and I guess COMELEC can authorize the opening.
even if they pass the FOI, the Freedom of Information Act, will this still be covered by?
Probably not. Probably because these elections it might be different.
Yeah. But all these results are stored in a server somewhere.
Yes, the soft copies.
The soft copies are in a server somewhere.
Yes,
soft
yes.
So
copies.
even if they didn't do a manual count, you can actually get the raw data
Yes.
and do a count from
Assuming
there.
that that's not yet corrupted.
That's not yet corrupted. Okay.
That's easier to corrupt than the ballots.
Then the ballot
Oh, of
box.
course.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting.
Now there is this news, maybe if I can go to the news that here in ABS-CBN, Brillantes slams Paul Watchdog over Intel fund issue, and he dared you to explain how you used your intelligence fund when you were still with the commission. Though, dapat ipaliwanag niya kung anong ginawa niya sa pera for several months, noting that Lagman used his own check when he earned the money. Dineposito niya, hindi ko alam kung ano ang ginagawa niya sa pera.
Well, I explained it there.
This today's news.
I said I didn't touch it, and I
You
can
didn't touch
show
it?
I can show the bank statements.
Okay.
if he wants to. He's again saying things that that he cannot substantiate. I can
Oh.
substantiate everything that I said. I can substantiate all of them.
Oh.
No? But he said, for example, he said, well, it's only right that he returns the money because I already knew that I was not going to be reappointed. Okay? He said that. And he could not substantiate it. And so I corrected that because it's a lie. I said, I returned the money March 19,
March
2012.
19.
March 19, 2012. I found out that I was not going to be reappointed.
Money, March
19.
2012. March 19. Okay. And
I found out that I was not going to be reappointed April 13, 2012. So again, he was inaccurate. I want to be kind. So I'm just saying that he was inaccurate when he said that and he couldn't substantiate what he's saying. I mean, he just whatever enters his mind, he says without any proof, saying that it's only right because he knew he was leaving, so he should really return the money. Did the others do that when they left? It should have been very easy for him to check because the records are there in the accounting department.
you found out you were not reappointed April 19.
I learned that I was not going to be reappointed April 13, 2012, when somebody from Malacanang told me, explained to me why.
Is that something that you can...
So Senator Enrile, Senate President Enrile, would have rejected me during the confirmation process. And they said, we might as well not reappoint you so that you don't have to go through a rejection. And I said, well, if that's your decision, that's fine. But the following day, in text messages, I said, I wish I would be reappointed, if only so I can face my accuser, which was Enrile. He's blaming Namprel and therefore me, because he almost didn't make it in 1987
For
to the Senate. He was number 24. And blaming Namprel. The official count is of course complex, so I blame Namprel. He should be mad at Comelec. Namprel's count is unofficial.
Yeah, that's true.
He just
There's a
wa-
follow-up question to that raw data again. Is there no electronic record of how each voter voted?
Well, there is.
Where is it?
It's in that in the CF cards, and there are picture images as well
Where is it?
in the CF card.
Okay. But no soft copy. I mean,
Yeah.
no hard copy. Sorry.
Yeah, there are copies in the ballot box.
I don't it's in the box.
It doesn't generate a report, a written report, for example, for this precinct.
There is the election returns.
Are the printed results for that?
Yes. But that's an output of
Of
PICOS.
PICOS.
Yeah.
So if PICOS was gained, you
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
Okay, and there's another question. What's Mr. Lagman's take on Comelec's attachment to Smartmatic? Why do you
What?
think attachment? Or you said fixation
Well,
pa nga.
That is
I,
fixation?
I, I can only speculate on the reason, but I have no proof. If I say something, I cannot prove that, you know. I only know that they're fixated because every time we would discuss it, I mean, it's Smartmatic.
So you're saying like Smartmatic would do no wrong.
Yeah. And they would even, they were sort of the apologists for Smartmatic. He even lawyered between Smartmatic and Dominion. He was talking to Dominion.
What's the speculation?
But
here?
wasn't that part of
No,
the
I cannot
job?
speculate on the
Okay.
reason.
Yes, but wasn't
Because
that,
I won't be able to prove it. I don't want
because
to say
you want to-
anything.
but isn't that part of the job to somehow go in between
No.
because it was already crucial to the 2013?
No. When they learned about it, there was still time to do something else. As I explained earlier, if that were a private corporation, the private corporation would tell Smartmatic, I'm canceling the contract because you're in bad faith. You didn't tell me that there was a problem between you and your subcontractor. Here's your machine, give me back my money. That's how a private corporation would. And then, of course, I would also look for alternative solutions. And during that time, there was still time.
So you're saying there was still time?
Of course. Of course. There was the canvassing system that I had the IT department
Is
of
it still there if
Cotle.
ever?
Yeah,
Do you still have it?
I'm sure.
But
At that time, like I said, you know, there's the canvassing system, so that's taken care of, okay? But you need to volume test that, stress test. Then the electronic transmission. They could easily have asked an encoding company, can you develop an encoding program for us? Or maybe even the IT department can do it. I mean, we do that every time in NAMFREL, you know. It's not rocket science. You know. There was time to do it. From September was a time that, no, as a matter of fact, May of last year was when Dominion terminated the software license of Smartmatic. There was enough time to do it. But they're fixated on Smartmatic's because that's the problem.
Yeah, there's going to be a barangay election this year. So, chances are they're going to use the PICOS machine.
No.
No, they won't.
No. Barangay election stops at the barangay level.
Okay, so it's manual.
Yeah, that's done manually.
Okay.
Yeah. The only consolidation is if there are 3 precincts in your barangay, then you add the election returns of those 3 precincts. It's easier done manually
Okay.
than
so,
having to worry about source code and
yes,
you know.
So it's going to be an easier election in terms of even
Very easy. Yeah.
Okay.
So let me clarify because somebody asked, what can we suggest a better system to automate our elections? Is it right, manual at precinct level?
Manual at the precinct level, the
Automation.
output will be the election returns, which is the summary of the votes
Yeah.
per candidate.
Right.
Okay. Then encode that.
Input, output.
Yeah, encode that. Come up with a list
Mhm.
that you can provide the BEI and the other parties, the political parties, so they can review if the encoding was correct. You know, if there are problems, if there are encoding errors, go back and correct. Produce another list. So it's an iteration until everybody says, yes, you've encoded correctly. Then you transmit.
Automated transmission.
Yeah. Well, so we follow the law, print 8 copies of. Well, we don't even have to do that because we already have election returns done manually, right? So, transmit. Okay. Now, I'm even thinking, when you transmit, all those political parties and groups who are authorized to get a copy of the election returns can be sent a copy of the transmission. In other words, transmit it for canvassing and then forward a copy to the 30 political parties in that locality. So everybody has a copy of what was received here.
Very logical, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
So, like I said, every step of the way, you can check. So now you have the copy of the election returns produced manually by the teachers. Now you have a soft copy as well in your PC. You can compare right there.
Even the watchers,
Yeah.
everybody,
Yeah.
all the political
Yeah.
parties.
So right there you can compare if what was transmitted is correct.
Yes.
And then you can do your own tabulation because you already have a soft copy. And then you can check the output of the Municipal Board of Canvassers. Very transparent. That's what I'm saying. We can use automation to make the process more transparent. And we're missing that. In fact, with PCOS, we made it less transparent.
You can see.
You can see.
All you see is a congratulations, you voted.
Here, every step of the way, you can check the COMELEC
Yeah.
because you have a copy.
Yes. So typically, with automation, you lose the dominant opposition party thing because you can send it out to everyone.
Yeah.
Technically, you can have a watcher for every party there. It won't matter.
Yeah. Why don't transmit? Send it to everybody. Why make it secret? And then they can compare. Is it the same as the election returns? So
Have you
let's say
ever-
I'm the opposition party. For example, I get a copy of the election returns, manual, done manually, and I get a soft copy in my computer. I can print that and compare visually. Are they the same? Now, you might say, what if the transmission is correct for you, but not so
For
with the
the-
one that goes to canvassing? But you can do your own tabulation.
You can cross-check.
You can
Cross-check.
cross-check. So if the tabulation at the Municipal Board of Canvassers is different from your tabulation, you have a reason to protest right there. And protests are allowed in canvassing. They are not allowed during present counting. If you protest during present counting, it will simply be put in the minutes. You see? It's
But has this been discussed before in the past? Was
They
it
don't
presented
listen to
media?
other.
Was this presented to media? And,
You know that system,
uh,
I presented that to probably almost 200 different groups from 2008.
Is this in your
Up to
personal
20.
capacity or as part of, let's say, NAMFREL or
Yeah.
ICE
In my
Watch?
personal
It's in your
capacity
personal
and a
capacity.
group that I organized, I convened in 2007, late 2007, when I said, guys, we need to come up with what we believe is the best system for our elections.
yeah, but it came out like you're selling something.
And
So,
so-
you had the best
I know,
interest.
because
You know
that's-
that.
Yeah, I know, because that's what they want to
Stop.
say.
Yeah.
That's what they want people to believe.
Ah, I see. That's why it's been always squashed also.
Yeah,
Oh.
but you know, these people lie. So I said, let's come up with a system, and we did. We
Mhm.
came up. These are all IT people, and we came up with a system. And we said, and I presented that to COMELEC. Oh, I presented that first. No, I presented that to COMELEC first, and then they said, okay, please present that to the advisory council. And I presented it to the advisory council of COMELEC. They said,
Yeah.
their comment was basically, well, Gus, it's too late because we've already decided
Okay.
on OMR, on PCOS. And all that's needed is to bid it out. And Smartmatics PCOS won. Okay. And besides, they said, that's only a concept, Gus. I mean, you know, we don't know whether it's going to work or not. Oh yeah, it's so simple. That's what natural uses
Ayun
every
nga, I
time.
was thinking.
You know? So, anyway, we parted ways. So what I did was, I talked to UP,
Right.
Department of Computer Science. I said, can we develop the system? How much will it cost to develop the system? And UP told me, $1 million. So I said, okay, I'll try to raise that. So I went to the Makati Business Club. I did a presentation before the board.
What year was it? 2000.
2008.
Okay. Before
Okay.
that.
I presented to the advisory council November 28, 2008. Okay? And I was told that it was just a concept. So I approached the Makati Business Club and I was able to raise a big part of it.
Already.
Then I presented to Rotary clubs and I was able to raise some more. I got some money from my pocket and I was able to raise something like 900, including about 100 from me. Okay? Just to prove a point. And I asked UP to do it. And I asked them, pwede ba 900 na lang? And they did it. And we had that CD that we gave to some of the media, to Comelec, and I don't copy this. I can't even remember where I put it. Just to be able to prove that, you know, it's so simple. And that included the encoding
100%.
and including the canvassing.
And it was 1 million.
And,
Well,
Comelec would have bought it for
900,000.
900,000.
Okay, there's a comment here from Jim Paredes. Actually, there were people. This has to do with where you were saying there were election operators who there were candidates who had called alleging that they were called by election operators. And the comment is actually there were people claiming to have the capacity to do that last presidential elections must be a scam. You think it
Could
was
be. It could be. In fact,
they may not have had the
the
they may
first
not
thing
have
that I
had the
would tell
capability.
these candidates was, well, check them out first because they might be swindlers.
Promising what they can't deliver.
Yeah.
But you think that there's also a possibility that they could
Yeah.
deliver?
Yes.
So it could work both ways?
Yeah, to work both ways. Difficult to prove.
Yeah.
But, well, there are election protests that have been filed, so we'll probably find out something really went.
Dean George Bukobo. Do you know him?
Dean Mokobo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says,
Not well, I mean, but we met, we
my
talked.
hats off to Gus Lagman. I disagree with him on many things, but support his indefatigable patriotism.
Thank you, Dean.
Yeah, and
I mean, you see, it's I don't know if it's a problem, but it's difficult. Our situation is difficult in the sense that we understand IT, we understand elections, and we know what the appropriate thing to do is. It's difficult for us to just, be fence-sitters. It's difficult because we know. I mean, if you know something, you have to come forward and say so. And the problem is that we know how it's supposed to be done, and we can show it, we can prove it. If they would only listen.
If the AES was a real corporate system project, probably a lot of the things that were not done or were not done right would already have, if this were a corporate system project, would what?
Yeah. If they would just do a cost-benefit study, it would be very obvious. But there was no cost-benefit study done. It was just, okay, because let's exercise the option to purchase.
Do you think going nationwide in one go was also not correct, or should it have been done in phases, pilot?
The law even says, the law Republic Act 9369 says that it should be tried out first in 2 cities and 2 provinces each in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. That's in the law. Okay? The law was passed in January 2007. Unfortunately, the wording in the law is that it should be tried out first in the next national elections in 2 cities and 2 provinces each in Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. The next national elections was 2007. But it was too late. There was not enough time to do it. So they didn't do it. 2007 was manual. Okay? In 2009, Harry Roque filed a case, brought the case to the Supreme Court to say that, hey, it should first be tried out in 2 cities and 2 provinces in, each in Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. And the reason for that is that, well, sure, it was not done in 2007, but the reason why it should be tried out first is because we don't want to go nationwide right away.
Yes.
I mean,
Even in a systems project,
even
you
in
don't do
systems
that.
project,
Yeah.
let's say you want to install ATMs in your bank,
Yes.
you will try it out first in a
It's
few.
actually tried in smaller cities because you don't want a big flop in the beginning.
In fact, I would
You would
agree
try
with
it in
you.
a small
I tried it
city.
in small cities. So even when you want to install ATMs in your bank, you try it out first in several branches or several locations before you go nationwide. I mean, there's a reason for that. You want to find out if there are kinks, if there are problems, if there are program bans, system bans, and then you only correct it for a few. So it went to the Supreme Court, but the vote was 9-3 to go ahead. I was I was an amicus curiae
I know.
during that.
This will be an ongoing problem because we are talking of an automated election that requires knowledge on IT, and yet we've got people in COMELEC who may not always be IT savvy, as well as the Supreme Court that is
Yeah,
even more,
Supreme Court.
is even less IT
That's a
savvy.
big problem.
So that is a problem in
Yeah.
terms of decisions that are going to be made.
I mentioned that to the commission. I said our problem is we're discussing IT issues. 6 lawyers decided. I said that. We had quite a few debates, and we would debate for an hour, debate for 2 hours, and the vote would be 6-1. Ako yung 1. 6 lawyers decided on the IT issues.
And now, how many IT do we really have there now?
Well, none really. I mean,
Nothing?
6 lawyers and Grace Padaka, who's an accountant. But Louis understands. I mean, he was acting chair, I think, of Lente. So while he's a lawyer, I know him to be a good person.
Oh, you know Remfor Feria? Rom Feria. UP.
I know Feria, I know Boy Feria.
Anyway, he's very, as a techie also, he has my full support.
Thank you.
He's also a computer guy. Yeah.
Thank you.
And very active with Watch. And there's another question here.
Yeah.
Mr. Lagman, what can you say about Mindoro Comelec using Flipcoin in deciding a win from a tie?
Okay, again.
A win.
Flip coin. There, in Mindoro kasi, they tied exactly the same. and they
Yeah.
flip the coin.
That's allowed.
That's allowed.
As far as I know, that's
Yeah,
allowed.
that's what I heard
That
also.
has happened even in the past.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah.
on TV.
Mm.
But I think it might be very remote at this point, although we are still hoping against hope. It seems very remote that the majority will go for junking the PCOS. I think the sentiment that will be put out is that sayang, we paid for it, we might as well use it for several more elections.
I understand.
Now,
I understand that.
but 2016 is going to be very crucial because that's where we choose a
Yeah.
president.
Yeah.
So,
But we should decide. I know it's going to be even for 2016, it's still going to be an uphill fight. But that's not how we decide in private sector. I mean, that's some cost. I mean, that's if it's wrong, it's wrong. If there's a better system, you choose a better system. How much are we going to spend to use PICOS again? I mean, if we're going to spend another 8.6, or maybe less, because we don't have to buy it anymore. So subtract, we only paid 1.8, I think. We would still spend close to 7 billion. Okay, to use PICOS, because it's already there, we're going to spend 6 to 7 billion, assuming the same costs, when we only need to spend maybe 2 billion using another system. What would you do?
But those numbers you're saying now, what is the basis of these numbers? You're saying only 2 million and all that, but where are you getting those numbers?
Well, rough estimates. No? If we buy, let's say, 80,000 laptops, 80,000 times, how much are laptops today?
20?
Ano, the more powerful one?
Oh, you think
No,
so?
you don't think they're very
30,
powerful. No, you
30,
just
less
use it
than
for
30.
encoding.
No, less
And
than 30.
mga notebooks.
Less than
mga
20
tabs.
Oh.
in those at those volumes. You can get one for 10 maybe, or let's say 15.
Oh,
15 times. 15 times 8 is 1.2 billion for the laptops.
1.2.
So you
Billion.
see, billion, yeah. 80 times 15,000, di ba? That would be 1.2 billion. And then servers, konti na lang yon, because you're only talking 1,630. Okay? Maybe 1,650, including the national and the provincial board of canvassers. And then telecom, the communications for the transmission. The COMELEC should have concentrated, should have focused their attention on communications, because admittedly there's still problems in certain areas. You know, although little by little, the areas with no signal is becoming less and less. But you know, you still have to provide several hundred millions for that. And then there's project management and printing. Well, printing is really, there's a separate budget for regular elections. The 8.2 billion that I'm talking about is additional because of the presence of PICOS. Because we only need to print the usual ballots, which is a lot cheaper. So the 2 billion, I think, is pretty, you know,
Safe.
accurate. Yeah,
Safe.
yeah. And
Another,
if we can get the laptops for 10,000 because of the volume, then we're only talking of 800 million for 80,000. Where did I get the 80,000? Well, 78,000 presents. And by the way, like I said, after the elections, we can give that to the Department of Education.
yeah, because you know,
Like the
technology
budget
always
once again.
updates it. No?
Yeah. And then buy another 80,000 3 years later. So we're not really talking cost to the country of 2 billion. We're talking of less.
So how much is it now? 2 billion?
That's
Well,
my,
right now it's about 2 billion.
yeah, that's my rough estimate.
Compared
That's my
to
To assuming we use these same
This one?
machines, about 6. But then there's warehousing cost.
for the billion.
There's
warehouse.
maintenance. Remember, if you don't use them for 3
Technology.
years,
Oh.
many of them,
That's the reason why so many tumaliang ngayon.
exactly.
I don't believe that we should use technology. You
So,
Obsolete na yan eh.
every day I change my laptop every
Obsolete
year.
na yan eh.
let's not even talk about obsolescence, but it's just that they deteriorate.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Especially when they're in
So just
storage,
because
diba?
we have them, we have to use them. But there's a cheaper alternative.
Perdito Pasio is saying, Pura for Commissioner Lagman.
X.
X. Dami nagkikili
It's not an
dito.
easy job for a Northman.
So, you have other questions?
What,
Because it was
what,
2 hours to time.
moving forward now,
Yeah,
personally,
moving.
what are you going to do to, are you planning to continue espousing this until, what are your next
Well,
moves?
like I said, it's difficult to just stand by and do nothing when you know that something is not being done properly. And especially because it's costing us a lot of money. And most important is we're talking here of our elections. The credibility is in question right now. There's the 60-30-10, there's source code review. Do we want to go through that every election?
You know, are you willing to say categorically that if ever there will be any consideration of your suggestion to make a local software for canvassing, that you are not going to have any personal interest whatsoever as far as being commercially or
Let me tell you what I told Chairman Nelo and his commission when I did that presentation before the commission in 2008, early November 2008. And I think I was asked, I can't remember now, whether I'm selling the system or not. And I said, no, I have not sold anything. I am not an election equipment vendor. I mean, I've been with marketing because I have companies. And I said, I have not sold anything to the COMELEC. And I will never sell anything to the COMELEC. And to which Chairman Nelo said, never say never. But that's what it is. I will not sell anything to the COMELEC. I mean, I'm semi-retired anyway. And I really will not. Even when the chairman was Chris Monson, I think the COMELEC needed some training, and I volunteered. I did not,
but are you willing to, or are you even considering, let us say, if somebody offered you a advisory position or a consultancy position, just in case? COMELEC?
Yeah, I can help,
If
the
for some
COMELEC,
reason they
the COMELEC,
decided to-
but not as I'll do it for free. Okay?
Okay.
You will do the consultancy for free?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, I've been doing, that's what, the amount of time that I spent on this advocacy?
So you've taken it to a personal
I know.
level, kasi I know we've seen you already on TV.
I love it.
Okay, now the
I could
netizens
just be
are
playing golf, reading a book, watching movies.
the netizens here. A lot of them are listening, and some of them will be tuning into the tape later because we're saving this podcast. We're saving the video. What do you think can netizens, especially those who are IT savvy and who are aware, who understand the issue, what do you think can people like us do to help out so that 2016 is not going to be so controversial in terms of?
Well, first is, like I said, look at alternatives. I mean, let's do it the private corporation way. What are the alternatives? And let's do a cost-benefit study. I mean, people who understand, like you said, no? I mean, we can do it either via the net or eyeball. I mean, we can meet, we can convene, and anybody who's got an idea can do a presentation, and let's see if we can make a decision the proper way. In other words, listen to all presentations. I mean, I'm not saying that this is the only way. There might be somebody might come up with something that's even better. I think that's what we can do. And there's time now before 2016. But we have to do it this year. We have to do it quickly. so that there's time to market it and to, you know.
Is IceWatch still going to be IceWatch between now and 2016?
I really don't know. I'm not leading
Oh, you're
the
not.
activities, but I do attend. I participate. I'm part of it, but I'm not the leading personality.
Well, if for any reason, because I think we will also try to hear the side of COMELEC to see what they plan to do between now and 2016. Are you open, let us say, if down the road after talking to them, if there's an opening, maybe we can get both of you at the same time?
Oh, sure.
Are you open to that?
Yeah. When you remember that time when Chairman Brillantes challenged me to a debate on the source code, he said that in the morning to media, and I was interviewed in the afternoon, and they asked me if I was willing to go into a debate with Chairman Brillantes on the source code. I said yes. The following morning, he withdrew his challenge.
Yung amin naman, hindi naman siguro debate, but I think what we want is to come out with something constructive,
Yeah.
something that will really,
Yeah.
you know, the debate kasi is just
I know.
one
Yeah.
proving I am right over the other one saying, you know, I'm also right. I think if ever we put the two of you together, the goal here would be to maybe, hopefully, try to agree on something that we can work on together.
They have to be in a receptive mood. They should be willing to listen. That's the first thing. They
Just
should
a
be willing
follow-up
to
question
listen.
from Ron Terry. Those who are out against Gus Lagman, are those who gain from not having him in COMELEC? Who are they?
Are those who
Those who are against you.
uh,
Those who are out against Gus Lagman, are those who gain from not having him in COMELEC for a day? Would you want to say?
I don't know. I
Okay.
mean, like I said, I don't want to say anything that I cannot prove
Oh.
or I cannot substantiate.
Okay, comment na lang.
Okay?
So we can close already.
Maybe any
Okay.
last words from
Okay.
you?
Well,
At least for the netizens also.
yeah, maybe that last suggestion that I made.
Yes, the call out.
We can come up with this
I tweeted that.
online discussion.
Mhm. Sige.
Some other people might have suggestions
Right.
as to what they think, how they think they should be done, and then let's have let's
I think
analyze,
somebody
let's
wants
look
to
at
call
all the
you after this.
alternatives. You know, like for example, I mentioned encoding.
Yeah.
You know, another way of doing it is instead of encoding, you give a cell phone to each of the teachers, and they can divide up the work and just key in the numbers. Because you don't have to key in the names because that can be stored. Key in the numbers, and then
Kasi nandun na yung names.
forward what they key in to everybody. I mean, that's another option. And then as an incentive, we can tell the teachers they can keep the cell phone after
Why not? Yeah.
after the
Where will it go anyway?
after the election. Yeah, what will COMELEC do with hundreds of thousands of cell phones? Di ba? I mean, there are other ways of doing it. But let's look at the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much
Thank you.
for spending time with us.
You're welcome.
I hope to see you in another online discussion, and hopefully it's an alternative automated election system.
We will keep this discussion open. We just thank you for your time that you gave to Blogwatch and to One Vote.
Okay.
Sana hindi ka magsawa if ever we have you back again.
Sana ka din hindi. Nakakapagod na rin.
Okay, so we're